Miss Martin Muses. Welcome to Miss Martin Muses, where we muse upon what makes me laugh, makes me cry, makes me happy, makes me sad, or just really ticks me off. Today, well, I guess this makes me everything, and it is Independence Day slash the Battle of Gettysburg. I am horrendous with math, but I believe we are in the 264th anniversary. I don't know. Google it. It was in 1863, July 1st through 3rd. So we're going to go through each of the days. And Independence Day, July 4th, was once it was all over and the retreat happened. But the results of it is just so amazing that the victory, the turning point of the Civil War happened on Independence Day. And at the exact same day was the surrender of Vicksburg, which cut the Confederacy in two. So on the eastern and the western part of this Civil War, everything went, no pun intended, south. It's part of the whole Anaconda plan, and it worked. Hello, says Steve Kenobi. Hello, swinging by to say hello while making dinner. Why, thank you for being here. I'm all the way over there in Norway. Steve Kenobi says carrot bits, potato bits, chicken bits, mushrooms, tomato beans, and gravy, all in a pot with water and spices added. What do you think of that dinner? I'd say that is impressive, most impressive, and probably something that these men soldiers during the Civil War would have had. You didn't have the luxury of picking and choosing what you got to eat. And yes, if you were lucky enough to have meat or potatoes, you'd throw them in a pot. They ate something called hardtack, which was basically flour and water. Blech. And Mr. Roy is here. Hello, we love our animals here at Miss Martin Muses. Independence Day is always an interesting day for me. I often spend it rewatching the episode from John Adams about Independence Day. Also reflect a lot on Gettysburg and Vicksburg. And if I have some extra time, I watch the musical 1776, which is amazing. Do not let the fact that it's a musical throw you off. The songs are great, but you can watch it if without the songs, with one or two exceptions, and still enjoy it because it is such a good portrayal of our founding fathers, of the committee that wrote the Declaration of Independence, and how it just was a big mess. It wasn't an amazing situation where Jefferson just goes, "Oh, look, here it is." It shows the way things work. Soldiers survive on swallowing their fear. That too. Hello, happy 4th of Independence Day. Happy Treason Day. What are you talking about, Potato Revan? We have a common enemy. We have a common enemy. I do enjoy, though, the Brits. I have a friend in Manchester, and he always says, "Happy ungrateful colonists day." Steve Kenobi, it's just Tuesday here, but I'm good at being independent. That is true. Well, your day is my birthday, May 17th. Yes, Norway are Tauruses. Interesting. That is what your nation is. And it is Matt bringing, is that bacon or slabs of meat? Steaks? Oh, maybe it's steak for Independence Day for grilling out. Yes, we are going to be diving into the 3 days that make up the Battle of Gettysburg. Each day is just an amazing situation in of itself. I loved getting out my old notes and preparing a presentation for you all. So if you do know the Battle of Gettysburg, please tell me what I'm leaving out, because you cannot get everything. You cannot. But maybe you'll also learn something new. We have a common enemy, bloody Canadians. Oh dear. Potato Ribbon. Yeah. I'm in between workers coming in and out of the wind tunnel that has become my house. Steek says, vegans are good at making huge mistakes. Ha ha ha. Hardy har har. Hardy har 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 har. And Reddy is here. Princess Reddy, or rather Queen Reddy is here. Hey, Teresa. Oh, I like your font. Thank you. Yes, we are going to be talking about the Battle of Gettysburg. So in case y'all don't know, the Civil War, sometimes I believe more accurately called the war between the states, because the Confederacy didn't want to like take control of the Union. They just wanted to leave the Union. And from their point of view, they had every right to do so because didn't we do the same with the Brits? Speaking of steaks, said Steve Kenobi, there is a juicy Rennie. These fonts are my new toy today. Oh gosh. Hey, Steve Kenobi. Yeah, you're such a flirt, Steve. Don't make me want steak. Gosh, I already had bacon and eggs and coffee, and I actually had some tea because I'm starting to get a scratchy throat. It's my own fault. I have not been looking after my voice the way I should. I have not been looking after it. I've been a bad girl. So I need to also rest the voice. I can't cook for myself. It's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous because my kitchen is currently gutted and all of my appliances are moved out of the kitchen. So my fridge is the only one that's still going because that's the most important one. But no washer, no dryer, no stove. I do have an air fryer, which I have been trying to utilize, but it's just a lot easier. I just been living off of DoorDash. Um, Rennie showing off her roast says steak. Potato ribbon. I heard it called the War of the Americas. Yeah, I mean, there's lots of really interesting names. Yes. And maybe another day I'll talk about what was going on. There's lots of reasons for what led to this conflict. And in my humble opinion, the best dramatization that really lays it out based on the book is North and South by John Jakes. If you want to see what it really led to where we were, he did a fantastic job with it. And the adaptation with Patrick Swayze, James Reed, Kirstie Alley, just star-studded cast. It it was based on the class of 44. True story. The class of 46 from West Point. Almost all the generals and major movers and shakers from the Civil War were part of that same class. So they all studied military together. And what they did in John Jake's book in North and South, they had two fictional people in there. They had Ori and George. George was from the North, Ori was from the South. And they went to Mexico together. They've all fought together. And then you see how everything falls apart and leads us to the conflict of the Civil War. And what's really wild, you have people like Robert E. Lee, who's the instructor of all of them at this time. It's just unbelievable. James Longstreet and Ulysses S. Grant were probably comparable in real life to George and Ori. They were very good friends. And here's what's wild. They kept their friendship after the war. After the war. Really cool stuff. Rennie L says, my dad really enjoyed visiting Gettysburg. Oh, hell yes. Rennie says, I live by, if I was you, I'd try to get a compact one you can store away. Oh, yes. The air fryer. It was my birthday present last year from my mom and dad, and it's red. Yes, Steve, my empire. My empire. If you know it, you know it. From North and South Book 2, which does also a good job of showing the Civil War and the battles. My empire. I gotta save my empire. There's lots of really, really good quotes from North and South. My only complaint about North and South is the fashion. It looks like a whole bunch of 80s people. I mean, their hair and everything was 80s. I'm like, really? Really? Something everyone's saying, good day to you. Hello, happy treason day. Here you go. Oh, she gave her hubby some serious font. Let's see. That sounded really dirty. The Patriots may be a movie I'd watch today as well, says Steve. Yeah, I was so waxing poetic about North and South. Maybe I'll do a thing about North and South. It is so good. One of us, one of us, one of us. I told you you'd love an air fryer. That's right. That's right. Yes, the Civil War. Potato Ribbon. The Civil War, the Fine Gael founder was one of on the Confederate side. He wrote a letter to his old best friend, and he never heard from him again. Oh my, yeah. Gosh, Fine Gael. Back when Fine Gael maybe meant something. You know, one of these days we're gonna yap about the Irish Civil War and of course the stuff that happened before that. The Patriot is as historically accurate as Harry Potter. Yeah, it's got some issues. It's the sentiment. It's the sentiment behind it. But wait. How dare you, sir? How dare you? Harry Potter is the truth. Dadman Walking, Longstreet's friendship with Grant caused lots of problems with other senators after the Civil War. Yes, yeah, they didn't want anything to do with it. Well, because he also went and added insult to injury by he joined the administration of Ulysses S. Grant, and they didn't even invite him to the reunion. Um, but he showed up anyways in his uniform. He was not given a memorial at Gettysburg until about 20 years ago, and I really think the book Killer Angels and the movie Gettysburg had a lot to do with that. I know you probably know this, Dead Man Walking, but for all those listening, hello, humans and other creatures. Yay, it's Sort of Poop as we love our polar bears. Boil them and mash the potato trees. Yes. Gosh. I'll tell you, these last few weeks, but I was actually talking with my mama about an hour ago. And I can't completely say I was cursed. Okay, wait. If Steve's still in the chat, he's going to yell at me. I told you that too. I was passing on the sentiment that while these last few weeks have been rough and it prevented me from going to Florida, now that I know my house was going to flood last Friday, if I had been able to go, if I hadn't had the health issues that had kept me here in where I live. Oh, I think most people probably know generally where I live. If that had not happened, the cat sitter would not have found, or he would have found my kitchen flooded and I would have had to have flown back. But he comes at intervals. So goodness knows how much worse my kitchen would have been. Because here's the story. My ground floor is one room. There's no doors. There's actually only a few doors in my house. So it would have gone from the kitchen to my dining room to my living room. Okay. Hello, it's Chris Santh. Fun fact: there was a tea parties off to the side of the Civil War, and one woman said the war began in my front garden, into my back garden. That is correct. That was at Armageddon, Appomattox Courthouse. That is correct. Demo. A lot of journalists blame him for the loss at Gettysburg. Longstreet. He was following orders, but I think that some people complain he hesitated. But if you're talking about day 3, which we're going to get to, no one could have crossed that field and made it happen. No one. Don't forget the Battle of Vicksburg, another great Grant moment. Yes, I was about ready to say that's the Independence Day part is that after what happened at Gettysburg, then we have Vicksburg. I have North to South Indeed. It costs $12, I think. Yes, it is worth it. Get all 3 of them, though the third one is definitely the worst. It still is better than most crap you're going to see today. Pseudo purpose. I wear my 150th anniversary of Gettysburg t-shirt. Yay! Well done. Let's see. I hope I didn't miss anybody because, again, I am waxing maybe I'm not waxing poetically. I'll let you all decide how poetic I am. Seta Poopa says, I'm fat, furry, and stinky as is appropriate for a bear. How are you? Oh my gosh. Ever read Blueback Jack's comments, Civil War comics? I might have. In German, if that makes sense, that like the Teufel of something, the devil of something. Because when I was in high school in my German class, he would have us like read comics. Good, very good teacher. And I think that's where I might have read it. Potato Burn said, every night Miss Martin dreams of owning doors. The last due to legal restriction, Miss Martin is legally banned from your outside house as she's sitting on the roof. Yeah. Well, it is an issue because if I want to keep my cats out because somebody doesn't like my cats, it's hard when your house it doesn't have doors. That way, so I have to barricade myself in my bedroom often. It's ridiculous. What kind of wax does one use for a poet? Yes. All right. Well, let's get into Gettysburg. Now, I have been several times to the battlefield. It's really amazing. But I've also been to Resaca in Georgia, as well as Shiloh, Chattanooga. Lots of things. Gosh, and these battlefields, very melancholy. but also cool. If you can go when there's reenactments, that's usually the best way to do it. All right, so here we have a map, Precious. Yes, we do. Some of these stills are taken from the Gettysburg movie. Very good movie. As all with movies, I'll remember it's always from a certain point of view. But there are so many accurate things in this. It's the best way to get an introduction to Gettysburg for sure. And it's worth it just to see the performance of Jeff Daniels and the Battle of Little Round Top. Holy crud. Also, a really great performance by the man I'm so in love with, I can't remember his name because I have no brain cells. My kitchen flooded. That's going to be my excuse for a year. You do realize that. All right. So this is what's going on. We just got done with Chancellorsville, where we lost Stonewall Jackson. I almost would argue that was the end of this Civil War. Stonewall Jackson was, as Lee called him, my right hand. So when Jackson had to get his left arm amputated, he says, Jackson's lost his left arm. I have lost my right. And ironically, he was killed by friendly fire. Very, very tragic and very awful that next to Robert E. Lee, in my humble opinion, one of the greatest Civil War generals, was killed by his own men. The Yankees couldn't kill him, but his own killed him. So the fact that he was not there at Gettysburg affected, I think, a lot. Also, Stuart dropped the ball. He was supposed to be doing intelligence, and he was doing other stuff. I think the movie Gettysburg maybe blames him a little too much because the dude wasn't psychic, okay? But this is the story. After what happened at Chancellorsville, and with the Union Army and the Confederate Army in the East taking the advantage, Robert E. Lee decided to go north and invade Gettysburg. He was not wanting to invade or take the state or the area. He wanted to make it so that the northern people would say enough already and Lincoln would surrender. So he goes up and around there to the left where the Confederates are, and the Union is chasing after him. Ironically, people say the Confederates came in from the north and the Union came in from the south. I love the Gettysburg movie. In the last appearance of Richard Jordan before he died. Hell yes. Very tragically, I think it was a brain tumor. Yeah, he did a great performance in that. Very good monologue. Gosh darn it. So sad. And they dedicated the movie to him. Piverin, the extras at the Gettysburg with the reenactment, they were like, if you screw up when we leave, we take the horses and cannons and army. Yeah, they were playing their own ancestors. Yes. Yeah, a lot of these movies do use reenactors. And there's a reason why a lot of reenactors have the attitude they do, because Hollywood can really come in and really disrespect the history. I actually did some Civil War reenacting, so that's a thing for me. The dude wasn't psychic A, not abnormal. Oh, yeah, oh, gosh, I'm in trouble. I know Steve's not psychic either, and I am guilty of thinking he is. I know, my fault. I had that coming. Fun fact, Ruth was at the Gettysburg Address. The Confederates were pretty good at that. They almost killed Longstreet in the wilderness a year later, very close to Chancellorsville. Ironically, yeah. Yes. Okay, so now that we kind of have the picture here, the plan was not to fight at Gettysburg. Robert E. Lee was adamant. Oh, hail no. Oh, hail no. It was an accident. It was an accident. Who was it? Heath or Heth? I forget if I'm pronouncing his name right. He got into a skirmish at Gettysburg with some of the Union people. But what Heth didn't realize was that the whole, as they say in the movie, the whole damn Union army was behind him. So it was an accident. It was a terrible place for them to fight. So let's go to day one. The high ground. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. John Buford, played by the sexiest man on the planet in the movie. he, gosh, why is his name escaping me? Help me out here. He's so sexy. I love him so much, and he hasn't aged. I don't. His name escapes me. But in any case, he happened to look at the terrain and went, "Wait a second. There's high ground here. There's high ground here along what we're going to be calling Military Ridge." Let me go back. Oh crap, the map doesn't show it. You'll see it in another map. And one of the things that really fecked up the Union Army at Fredericksburg back in December was the rebels had the high ground at Mary's Heights. And the Union, they charged across an open field and all that and got slaughtered. The dude who was the artillery guy, when he told Robert E. Lee what was going to be going on, he said a chicken couldn't live on that field. A little bit ironic because the places are going to be reversed for Pickett's charge. So if you got to have the high ground, you don't want to fight people on the high ground. I always use the example the high ground. In a verbal argument, in a verbal situation, you want the high ground. Nothing is more important than to get the high ground. And if you lose the high ground, you lose the argument, even if you're right. Discussion for another day. So he saw the high ground and he knew that Robert E. Lee, thank you, Sam Elliott. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I forgot him. I mean, I've been in love with this man forever. And his performance in this movie is amazing. Amazing. He gives this monologue about getting the high ground and why it's so important. Because if the Confederates got the high ground, it would be over. It would be over. Oh, Sam Elliott's mustache won the Civil War. I've never seen the movie. I think you would enjoy it. Snorted Poopa says the scene with Jordan and Behringer was a marvel, with Jordan emoting and Behringer reacting. Yeah, he was talking about his friend. And he also got shot. Both of them got shot at Gettysburg, but gosh, what was his name? Jeannie Mac. These names are escaping me. He survived. The Yankee dude survived. Jordan did not. Sam Ellen's attractive. I mean, I guess. Oh, girl. Okay, you need to see him in a Union uniform. Okay, and he decided to choose this ground, the high ground, and sent off for Buford, for reinforcements. So they were going to hold it, and he wanted the rebels to fight them there because the Union wanted to fight the rebels there with the high ground. Robert E. Lee was smart enough to know, oh, hell no. That's the real Buford. So, okay. Sam Elliott's a little different, but like I care. Like I care. So here we go. Heth, who effed everything up. Wait, where is he? There he is. There's Heth. I think pronounced Heth. His people got into a skirmish, and again, they didn't realize that the whole dang Union Army was there. So on day one, they're sitting there fighting. Here it says where Reynolds is. Here are the rebels. Finally, Robert E. Lee gives permission to engage. It's like, damn it, the fight started. We have to then go in and attack. You got A.P. Hill, you got Ewell, and Reynolds was able to hold off enough before Reynolds came with the rest of the battalion and all those people. That's what he meant by the whole damn Union Army. And at first, when you're looking at this and the way it turns out, it's like, dang it, the Union, look, they got pushed back. Oh my gosh, they got pushed back. But where did they get pushed back to? The high ground. And if you'll see when the map changes, whoops, fudge. What did I just do? Yikes, go back. Okay, here we go. Cemetery Hill. Cemetery Ridge, Little Round Top, and Round Top. All hills, all the high ground. So while at first it looked like, yay, the Confederates won if you're a Confederate, people that kind of figured out what happened went, oh, F the Confederate generals. There's Heth. Oh, here is Reynolds, and they did what they were supposed to do. Sad news: Reynolds did not survive. He was up on his horse and got shot. So may he rest in peace. He helped save the Union. Yay! All right. Here's another map. Let me see. I know I'm missing some of these comments rather. Sam Sam Elliott's mustache won everything and every woman. That's right. Maybe he can have Wolverine in a summer. Oh no, sort of poopus. Does Dave Wenham know you were cheating on him with Sam Elliott? No, he does not. See, what else are they talking about? It was silly. Yes. Sort of says, and that was silly. Lee could have said, whoopsie, let's sneak away and find a better place to rumble. That is correct. And hindsight, of course, is always 2020. But that's what he should have done. Heck, he still could have done that after the second day of battle. Just cut his losses. However, I say poor Robert E. Lee. Remember, he didn't have his right hand. He didn't have Stonewall Jackson. He didn't have Stuart's intelligence. And up to this point, he had done a lot of crazy, wild things and been successful, like at Chancellorsville when they split the army. You never split your army, but it worked at Chancellorsville. I think that was it. What's his face? The Civil War historian, dagnabbit, Shelby Foote said his success worked against him at Gettysburg. Dempsey says, build your opponent a golden bridge to retreat across. Lee was not as good offensive general, true, and wasn't nearly as strategist that Grant was, and the how to fight and how the fight started again. Yes. And that was the other part. I mean, it was perhaps a big blunder to invade the North. He did so much better defending. Rennie says, thank goodness the Union won, though the country would be too. Oh, absolutely. And I've even known most people accepted it happened the way it was supposed to happen. Even people like Lee and all that, it's almost a meme how many times in the movies Gettysburg they're like, it's all in God's hands now and God's will. But it's there because it's accurate. They really felt that way. Swordput says, my hindsight is wonderful. I can see very well out of my furry, oh my dear, backside. Didn't they win it because of the picket fence? Well, actually, there was part of the fence. There was a fence that was part of it, not the picket fence. But yes, a fence played a part in Pickett's charge, a bad part. So this is so you can get another little view. Yeah, you got AP Hill, you got the rebels here in Buford, and this is an aerial view of Gettysburg. Smart Poopa says, I get Confederate sympathizers mad at me whenever I talk dirty about Bobby Lee. Yeah. Well, that's another thing about Longstreet. People are wondering, was it they didn't want to blame Lee, so they had to blame Longstreet. And Longstreet made the unpardonable sin of criticizing Robert E. Lee for the strategy at Gettysburg. Now, Pickett, of course, he wanted nothing to do with him, Robert E. Lee, after it, but I guess people forgave him a little better. He said, that old man got my people killed. Oh, the end. No, sorry. So this is after day one. Remember I said that the Confederates, drove them back to here. Culp's Hill, Cemetery Ridge, all the way down here. Now, at the start of day 2, Little Round Top and Big Round Top were open. And the Confederate right flank is here. The Confederate left flank is here. But again, the Union has the high ground. It's in the shape of a fishhook. Dadman Walking says, yes, during the charge, they had to stop and tear parts of the fence down for the troops to get over and around it. Correct. I walked the Pickett's charge. First of all, that takes forever. It took us 30 minutes just at a normal walk to do it. And the fence is still there. I don't know if it was the exact same one, but yeah, it was not easy to get across that fence. Now, we went to a little opening, me and my mama, but yeah, it's like, my gosh. Deadman Walking, Longstreet repeatedly delayed movements and actions at Gettysburg, which led to a lot of criticism toward him by Key, undercut the entire battle, whether it's right or wrong. It was a perception. Yeah, and that's what I'm saying is I'll leave it to better strategists than I. Did he? But Longstreet's not an idiot. He wanted the rebels to win that war too. So I don't know. There's lots of blame to go around. Watching though the movies Gettysburg, it might make you side a little too strongly with Longstreet. It was definitely a point of view thing. It wasn't as simple. Nothing simple. Potato Reverend, they found a dead soldier by the fence who had a letter to his Confederate family. A Union soldier rewrote them so there was no blood in the letter. Saw it on PBS special. Yeah. And there was a lot of that kind of stuff that went on. A lot of honor between these men. They didn't take it personally. Yes, Rennie, thank you. Slash that like button and watch my stuff. I'm almost 200 hour. Oh wait, I'm not going to jinx it. Dag nabbit. And it's had knock on wood. Nothing is more difficult than the art of maneuvering for advantageous position from the art of war. Thank you, Dempsey. Longstreet says Nordopupus wanted to go around Little Round Top, not over them. Yes, then that was the thing. We should have gone to the right. We should have gone to the right. If you know Gettysburg, you know what I'm talking about. And of course, you'll see why. However, what's still amazing about all of that, despite what we've just said, it still almost worked. What the rebels did almost worked. And this is where sometimes I'm wondering if God didn't just kind of say, okay, kids, enough of the funny stuff, enough of it. We're going to shut this down. All right. We're going to shut this down. All right. Who do I have? I have Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, and that's what we're going to get to next. And I'm hoping, gosh darn it, my computer's acting up. If I disappear, you'll know why. Snortpoop says, son, whatever his name is, was wrong. Nothing is more difficult in war than getting a good nap during an artillery barrage. True. Fun fact, the Victorian representative was a liar. He was a tourist, but all of the crowns of Europe had representatives, even soldiers on both sides. Joshua First of Prussia had been on both sides. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no one was helping out one side or another. Completely a coincidence. Yeah. Yeah. Whatever his name's what? Says Tyron. Okay. I don't know. Oh, dear. I can't pronounce that name. I felt nailed sort. Yeah. All right. So let's go on. Day 2. Did someone say bayonets? If you've seen Gettysburg, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, it was a historical representative, but the way that Jeff Daniels, it's amazing. I mean, you will never forget it. And frankly, the part at Little Round Top is the best part of the movie. It is easily the best reenactment, the best battle, the best drama, all of that. And so if you only watch the first half of the movie, you're in for a treat. But yes, we're Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, the professor from Maine. Okay, they're all saying how each other's silly. And Tommy is here. Hello, Tommy. Yes, someone did say bayonets. I wish I could show it to you all. Go watch it. Go watch it. Maybe I'll put a clip out on Twitter because it's so awesome. Jeff Daniels is so amazing. Okay, here we are, day 2. And these rebels were not fracking around. Here you have McLaws, you got Hood, you've got Law, and they're coming here and they're going to try to hit the left flank of the Union. Now, this dude, he who was it that effed up? It was that guy who shot his wife's lover. What a loser. No, but he's not a loser because he got away with it. He came down to meet the rebels in here, and here's Little Round Top, the Fifth Corps. They're coming around to hit the flank. Now, you get the flank, the Union falls apart. Let me go back to the fish hook. Here we go. So the Confederates are coming around little big Round Top up to the Little Round Top. Currently, there was no one really protecting Little Round Top. Let me go back. Yes. Potato Revan. Oh, Vermont Cheddar is here. We endorse cheese here at Miss Martin Muses, so welcome to Miss Martin Muses. Gettysburg is about looking at how far Gettysburg from me, maybe a day trip. It's worth it. It's worth it. Oh gosh, just spend a few days there. Thank you, Sickles. Sickles. I used to have all these people memorized. Percent says, all right, everyone. My elderly neighbor is looking a little lonely, saying, "Oh, have a great stream." Well, good for you. Look at you doing good deeds. Actually, I think I would remember these people's names if it wasn't for my kitchen flooding. Remember, everything is going to have a problem. But my energy and my brain cells have been going towards other things. Let me see. Another glorious mustache. Okay. And we got some more from Dempsey. Where is that quote? Potato Reverend, for some reason, I saw something that you said. Okay. Oh, there it is. Did you ever try on one of the dresses? Why isn't it showing up on my main thing? Okay. I'm just going to read your comment aloud, Potato Reverend. Says, why did you ever try on one of the dresses? They look heavy as hell. How do all those women go to the bathroom? Well, now that you asked, before we go on to the battle, not as hard as you think. And they're not as heavy as they look because the hoops that you would wear, I used to do this. I used to wear them. I still have the whole wardrobe. Kind of poofed out the dress and would take on some of that weight. And then you would have your privacy petticoat underneath. Now, how did you go to the bathroom? Those hoops and everything were very bendy. I used to be able to use a porta potty in those, right? You just bend down, you take your hoops, you twist them in front of you, and you put it behind your neck, and boom, go to the bathroom. Cheddar. Oh yeah, we love cheddar here at Miss Smart Music. Is it too far from Boston? Oh, you know what? I think may not be. I think it's within driving distance. Oh, there's Steve. Oh, yeah. Do it. Do it while you're here. Do it. Okay. Gosh, Sickles. What? I mean, I gotta give him credit. And I think he's the first person that tried like got off on temporary insanity because the whole idea was his wife was screwing someone. He walked in on him and shot the dude dead and went, "Hey, I was temporarily insane. I saw him screwing my wife." And he got off. Miss Martin muses, I had to approve the message. It's why it wasn't appearing, says Tommy. Yeah, but what on earth? That wasn't even anything bad. Who knows what offends Twitter and does not, or rather YouTube. Okay. Now, there's loads of different fighting going on, and I want to give some shout outs to the Irish Brigade. Yes, the Irish were there. The Irish were there, and they fought incredibly bravely at Gettysburg. This is their memorial at Gettysburg. And they were the ones that were like in the wheat field and in the peach orchard. And I think we're in around Devil's Den. Gosh darn it, they were so brave. And most of them all, they got decimated. I forget how many actually got it. Oh, they were also at Cemetery Ridge. Dang. And here, Fair Catch Corby. if Colby, if you know, you know. Right before they went into battle, and most of them, a lot of them died, there was a priest, a chaplain, Union chaplain, and he gave them all conditional absolution. They show this also in the movie. And there's a statue of him looking just like that, and they call it fair catch. It's a thing from American football that referees do. But that was a very famous moment, and it is memorialized. Um, let's see. Oh, so I'm in the metro New York City area. I can just say this, that I once on a spring break, as a family, we all went to Gettysburg, and then we drove up to New York City to see a Broadway play. So it's possible. Yeah, that's all I can say about that. Here is oh, this is Ewell. He was the dude who led the attack on the right flank. The peach orchard, the wheat field, that's what the wheat field looked like afterwards. There are pictures after the battle, but for reasons I'm really not showing too many of them because of the dead bodies. Devil's Den. Brave fighting on both ends. Stream shared. Why, thank you. Vermont Cheddar says, I love fudge. Okay. Gosh, some things aren't showing up for me. This is wild. Just checked. It's 8 hours from Boston, says Potato Reverend. That is too long walk for my legs to be in a car and to be able to walk. Yeah. Well, now Gettysburg, you can drive through a lot of it. You can. There it is, Vermont Cheddar. I think there's a lag. I love U.S. history, especially on days like this. Thank you for the stream. Well, thank you. And Sort of Poop Scuba, I'm about to listen to audiobook about Thomas Francis Myers, who founded the Irish Brigade. Yeah. Gosh, you want to talk about something that'll break your heart, and it's shown very well. Oh, Hood. Shoot. Thank you. Holy crap. My bad. It's not Yule. Yule is the other dude. Yule was up on top. Damn it. Ignore everything. Everything I got wrong, it was my kitchen's fault. Gods in General shows this awful, awful, but true story of the Georgia Irish company that was at the wall on Mary's Heights and the Irish Brigade charging them. And they sat there and shot at each other. You know, they'd left, they were brothers and they were sitting there shooting at each other. And of course, they repulsed the charge of the Irish Brigade because Mary's Heights was a slaughter for the Union, but the Irish gave them like an Irish cheer and all that. And it's awful in the movie. Awful, but beautiful. And in the movie, they play like, oh, the Irish music is just enough to break your heart. Lots of brother against brother. I know. Good old John Bell. Sherman was so happy when he took over from Johnston in Georgia. Believe it or not, military history is one of my weakest areas. I know more of the drama behind these things than others. Yes, Ewell's up here. Hood was down here. Longstreet, McLaws. All right. So now you have, you had Sykes. Yeah, because Sykes, remember, he came down and went and met them in the wheat field and the peach orchard. He really wasn't supposed to do that. You don't want to give up the high ground. But oh well, he did. The Irish fought, says Potato Rum, viciously to each other, and then they said the war was over. The Irish buried them. No matter the side, it was their right as Irishmen to have an Irish wake. Yeah, there was a lot of that honor among brothers. Just for perspective, here's Little Round Top, and there is Round Top. This is the view from Little Round Top. What happened in the midst of all of this? The head of the brigade, gosh darn it, the Vincent, he was standing up here on this rock looking at what was going on here. And he's like, fudge. Hood and all them are coming up around here. And look, there's no flank. There's no one on the flank. So they order the 20th Maine. Actually, let's be fair. 20th Maine gets a lot of the credit for this, and they deserve it. They deserve every ounce of it, but there were others as well. But yes, the 20th Maine, the reason why they're so distinct is they were the end, as they say in the movie, the end of the line. They were like the lucky ones. They were right at the left flank. They were literally the flank of the Union Army. So this is the real 20th Maine, and that is Tom Chamberlain, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain's brother, who was with him at the Battle of Little Round Top. So what happens is the 20th Maine and the others, what is it, 83rd Pennsylvania, 44th New York, they were all like, dudes, get over there. So you see Vincent here. So they're like, oh my gosh. And they get Little Round Top. Here's Big Round Top. There's Little Round Top. Way out in the corner, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain sent out the B Company of 20th Maine. Again, this man really knew his stuff. He was a professor and he was not really a soldier, but he did like a crash course. He like read books all night. The movie Gods in General shows that really well. And he would get tutored by everyone, Ames, who was the original colonel of the regiment. So he really knew his crap. Yeah, we're going to get there on the third day. Door to Poopus. That is a thing. Rennie has to run. I have to get ready to leave. Hope everyone has a great Independence Day. Much love. Thank you. It's Gettysburg technically, and no. As for okay, wait. Actually, I'm not going to answer that because I might be wrong. I should. Everybody Google. Dan Milwaukee says, a problem I had with the movie is Hood saying we should have gone to the right. Hood single-handedly destroyed the Army of the Tennessee himself by continually using frontal assaults on Nashville and Franklin. Yes, I have heard a lot of criticism of that line. I think in a different context, the whole we should have gone to the right might have made sense, but yeah, it's like, dude, you could have gone to the right. Right? No. Yeah. A lot of people have said that. Have fun. Yes, please do. So anyways, this is how it's set up. And I believe these were the Texas. Yeah. Alabama, Texas. And who was it? Shelby Foote said, if those Texans were coming. It's like if there could have been anyone that had gotten as far as they did, it was the daggone Texans. Yeah. Here is the memorial for the 20th Maine. I was there. And I'll tell you what, the movie does not do it justice, cannot do it justice, because I think all of the actors would have died if they'd have really filmed this at this part, because it was rocky as hell. And it gives you a really solid perspective of what these guys did and what adrenaline can do for you. So I think this is about the place where they are going to refuse the line. So here's the 20th Maine. They are the flank. They're fighting. And they repulse the Texans, and the Texans go back. Yes, dead man walking. Yeah, something for later. Yeah, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain for sure. Mm-hmm. The fact that man lived through what he did, and God wanted this man to live. That's all I can say about him. So here's what it looks like. And this is from, oh gosh, what's his name? I want to give credit for this. Obviously, these are not my maps. So credit to the people that made them. Oh, it was, Oates was the one, the Alabama ones that were really hitting hard. And as you can see, they are starting to flank the 20th Maine. So fight, fight, fight. Whoops, we're coming around here. We're going to flank them. So, what does Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain do? Something called refusing the line. So he takes his men. I think into they space themselves out. They hit here, and then they refuse the line to make it a right angle. So instead of just having this little rectangle here, now they've been able to extend their defense. This is a defensive move. Really well done in the movie. Here's how it's done in the here. You can see this in the movie. This is them refusing the line. This is the hinge. This is not Sickles. Captain. I forget his name. The captain who refused the line. There he is, leading them to make it a right angle. Yeah, close though. Yeah, the people are helping me out with the Appalachian. Thank you, by the way. As I say, everyone Google. Tommy says he pulled his reserves up to extend line. If it failed, he would have been escaped. Yeah, that's a very good point. Well, no, not his reserves, because unless, correct me if I'm wrong, because I told you my military history is kind of the weakest parts. But yes, if what Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain did would have failed, he would have been a villain. In the same way, when we get to day 3, you'll see that if Robert E. Lee, if Pickett's charge has succeeded, Robert E. Lee would have been a genius. Captain, what's his name? The bravest in all the Union Army, next to General, your man and president, you know him. Yes, I'm feeling so friggin' ignorant. I've only got suddenly Star Wars names are going through my head. This is ridiculous. Everybody Google, but you know the one I'm talking about. He always had a pipe in his mouth. And just did a great job. Let me see. I'm bringing up the cast here. Gosh, they're all so old now. This is so sad, but I guess people get old. It happens. Yeah. General Obi-Wan and Commander Rex. Did these soldiers go between lines at night and just chill and have some moonshine? Sometimes. Oh, God bless America. God bless America. All right. So after they refuse the line, yay, look at us refusing the line. They're still coming. And they're about ready to be overwhelmed. They've run out of ammunition. And so Chamberlain goes, okay, we're going to have to charge. Oh, wait. The way it happens in the movie is we can't leave, so fix bayonets. And then they're like, you mean charge? And he says, yes, we're going to charge. Well, the advantage coming down the hill. The rebels will coming up, and we're going to charge. We're going to swing like a door. And here you go. Swing like a door. And that's him explaining what they're going to do. I love it. And when I would lecture on this, I would go, you have to say swing like a door. Otherwise, you're not doing it right. You're not. And I think that the actors do a good job as being like, what the actual fudge? So we're going to swing like a door. And as the rebels come up for the next charge, we're going to hinge around and chase them out. So the guy whose name I can't friggin' remember, who's so important, he starts the charge because he was the one that they refused the line. So now they're like going to unrefuse the line, but then they're going to sweep. So he goes, charge. And this is where they pulled out their credit cards and yelled, "Charge sort of poop, son of a bitch." If it was me, I'd have cut down the trees and let all the logs roll. Well, yeah, I don't know if they had time to do that. Yeah, it was a thing in the Civil War when they weren't fighting. Yeah. All right. So he starts swinging like a door. Yep. And then after they're done swinging like a door, you can see that it made a line, and it happened to make a line also with Company B. So after they swept oats, now suddenly, oh, you have a line, and Joshua Chamberlain goes, "Charge," because you can't say charge, you gotta be charge if you've seen the movie. And then they all move as a line. Boom! And that's how it looked. They're one big line chasing him down the hill. Defibrillator goes off. "Watch who you're calling rebels," says Jacob Iron. um, and here is an artistic rendering of it. Again, a little more accurate because in the movie they would have killed all the actors if it had been like that. And don't watch too closely because the music and the drama and the acting really helps a lot. But if you double check, they're moving very carefully, even without all those rocks. And of course, it works. They saved the flank. Yay! And this is, I think, a 30-year reunion. The ones that survived and are still alive. You see Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain here with their memorial. This was them meeting. And it's like, oh, gosh darn it. And with their wives, you can see they brought their wives with them. Because and Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain had said that, wait, maybe that's Joshua Chamberlain. I don't know which one it is. One of these dudes is him. This was like the highlight of his life. It was so bad that after the war, because he felt like so alive during the war in that kind of paradox, he really had trouble adjusting to being a civilian again, and his marriage almost fell apart. Yeah, so there they are. Now we're going to go on to day 3. I've put these little themes together. I have no division. This is Pickett, a very famous line that he will say to Lee. Day 3, which was yesterday. So now the Union fish hook is incredibly solid all the way up Little Round Top and Round Top normal. You got these here. The rebels are not going to be able to get around here. There is an attempt over here by Ewell's people, and see, who was it? Stuart did some serious cavalry action. So did Custer. Yeah, Custer did a lot at this battle too. He was a cavalryman. Hancock up here at Cemetery Ridge, and you see here's Pickett's people, Tumble, Pettigrew. All these are long streets. And the idea that Robert E. Lee had was, we're going to charge up and get him at Cemetery Ridge. I don't know if he wasn't thinking clearly or something, because the idea was they're going to run, they're going to break, except he forgot they had the high ground. The Yankees had the high ground, and they also had all this area here. So they could just fire the crap out of them. It was so ill-conceived. So ill-conceived. Let's see. He was suffering from last Civil War widow died in 2020. Oh, she must have been quite young, and he must have been quite old. He was suffering from his war wound. Oh, yeah. Too many spaces, you can see that, yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's always hard when they go back to civilian life. The movie didn't cover the fighting on the Union right as much. That would have added at least an hour running time. Yeah, and they had a story to tell. There always has to be a story, and you can see that that's what they did in Gettysburg. But there's plenty of excellent documentaries where you can learn more of them. Okay, so let's have a look at Pickett's charge. This is the high ground that the Union had. This is looking from where the rebel or the Confederates started. Look at that open ground. I mean, holy crud. Again, it was Fredericksburg in reverse. But this was something else that textbook-wise Robert E. Lee was. He's like, we're going to take a whole bunch of cannons and blow them all to hell. And so that will open up the line. And yes, it did do a great deal of damage from the Union, but the Union also returned fire. And because of that, they had to kind of back up a little bit out of range because they were getting blown up. And then they were like, we got to hold off now because we've got to cover you. And then so they finally realized, holy crap, we didn't really take out their artillery the way we thought for the Union, but they gave it a noble attempt. Here's Pickett's charge as shown in the movies Gettysburg. They did film on the actual field. Again, look how open that was. And here's that fence we were talking about that slowed them down. I mean, it was bad enough, but if you're being fired on and stuff and you got a fence, that's just really bad news. Completely open field. She was born in 1919. It was 82 when they married. Yuck. I really hope it was, what do they call it? Where they lived as brother and sister. All right, this is from the Union perspective. Again, the Irish, yay. And so you can see that the Union were just sitting there ready for them. They were going to be sitting ducks. And see that fence there? Open view. Cannons, gunshot, everything. Ooh, she did have a kid from him? Yuck. Gosh, that's motivation. Oh, and then the obvious. Can I show this here? Okay, no, I don't have a good one. Because this was another aspect of it that I can't believe that Robert E. Lee did not think of, or maybe he thought of, but thought it would work, is you're minding your own business going across a big field like this. What do you have? Dudes, you have a flank. And what was to stop the Yankees from coming and flanking you? Guess what? Nothing. And they say this in the movie. They're like, they're flanking us. They're flanking us. It's like, yes. You see, here you are. Look, you have a flank. So the Union, they sent some people around to flank them. And they show this in the movie. Here you go. So as the Yankees are coming up down here, and then boom. So they're not just getting fired at from the front, they're getting fired up from the side. It was a bloodbath, an absolute bloodbath. But still, there were some that made it up to the top. And that was the character played by Robert Jordan. Let's see. Oh, yeah, Stephen Lang, he did a really good job of playing Robert E. Lee. Oh my gosh, not Robert E. Lee, Pickett. It was Martin Sheen who was Robert E. Lee. Did a really good job of Armistead. Well, Martin Sheen was great as Robert E. Lee as well. And Armistead, his little group made it to the top. I mean, just check out that. This was right at the clump of trees, and the fighting was incredibly fierce here. They were all on top of each other. The Yankees surged forward, and while it was really vicious, it didn't take too long. The Yankees were easily able to stop them. And there was This is a true story. Once they realized it was kind of over, and the Yankees, the people at the wall helped the rebels up over the wall. Now they took to take him prisoner, but they helped him out. And true story, at the reunion, I think it was the 50th reunion, the ones that were left alive reenacted it, and they just couldn't stand it. And then the Yankees that were left, the old men, kind of hobbled over the wall, and they all hugged and cried. It was, oh dear, you guys are awful. All right, yeah, one last shot for you, and that was it. And very famously, Pickett was just beside himself, just kind of standing there. And Robert E. Lee's like, dude, or rather, Pickett, you must see to your division. And then that's when he said the famous line, General Lee, I have no division. They were gone. All of his generals were either killed or wounded. I think they were all killed. Yeah, Armistead was killed. So was Pember was killed. Snorter Poopa says the reenactors brought around 30 cannon to make a movie. In real life, they had about 360. Oh, yeah. And if you look really carefully, as in a lot of this, you can see how they used clever camera tricks to make it look bigger than it really was. Before they did CGI and stuff, and I must personally say, yeah, you can see where they're doing camera tricks, but I would almost prefer that to CGI. There's an authenticity to it. So, yes, the rebels were decimated. A resounding Union victory. And this is the retreat, the Lee's retreat. So, here you can see where'd it go? Yeah, here's Gettysburg. Here's this, and here's the rebels, the Confederates withdrawing and retreating south, and over here across the Shenandoah Valley. There was a great debate and criticism of the Union, of Meade, that he did not push the advantage. Some say, hey, the Union was kind of effed up too. I'm of the opinion, so what, get over it. Grant would not have sat and twiddled his thumbs. They had enough men. They could have done it. They could have pushed forward and just ended it there, in my humble opinion. But they did not. When the actors hear and smell the boom, smell the smoke, it feels real to them. Yeah. And there is something about getting dressed up. There is something about getting dressed up in these clothes. And I wanted to go back to the comment by Dadman Walking, if you're still here, what you said about Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain. Yeah. Also, Chamberlain was severely wounded late in the war with a ricochet through the groin. He should have died, but for medical ingenuity. Definitely look it up for the medical books. Yeah, I mean, it nicked his spleen, his spine, and what was it? I think it was because he was turning. That's what it was. Yeah, he was leading a charge, and he kind of turned, and it hit him just the right way, and he wouldn't let himself fall because I guess he's like freaking Superman, and because he felt like it would be discouraging to the troops. And by this point, he was a general. And then once all his troops all charged and were up and away, then he fell over. Oh, there he is. Deadman Walking still here. One of the reasons cited for not following up, says Deadman Walking, stage 5, was the status of the command structure of the Union Army. Reynolds was dead. Hancock was out of action. You had a lot of leadership problems there. Yeah, and I guess that's fair. Yeah, I forgot to say that. Yeah, Hancock was wounded as well, though he did survive. Oh, thank you, Jacob Ironside. Yeah. I'm just thinking, okay, easier said than done. But when we see what Grant did, and that's what ended up ultimately winning this situation was he just kept going no matter what. He kept going even when they lost. That's just what was so fascinating to me is like after the wilderness and all that, it's like, yeah, we lost, but we're gonna pretend we won. So instead of withdrawing, we're just gonna keep going and pretend we just won that battle. We're not dead yet, and then kept winning going after Lee, and which I'm sure you know that he was called a butcher because he did. He had more men. They gambled. We have more men than they do, so we can keep going and keep supplying them. Snorter Poopa says one of the Confederate officers that died at Gettysburg was Lieutenant Colonel Walter Tazewell Patton, the great uncle of General Patton. Wow. So many coincidences. Or are they? Dad Ben Watkins required significant reconstructive surgery and he lived with incontinence and other problems the rest of his life. Yeah. Yeah. That's maybe we might have some TMI here. Maybe that's what was hurting the marriage. Who knows? And when you consider the state of surgery and all of that back then, I almost probably would have wanted to die because the pain. Can you imagine the pain? Ugh. Swinging in before parade. Oh, why? Thank you, gorillas. Thank you. Yeah, I'm hopefully getting this done before more reconstruction. This is one thing I guess you learn about when things are really bad with your kitchen. There's no such thing as a weekend. So, or a holiday. So, if you really want to get stuff done, pretend your kitchen's flooded. But then again, I guess you'd get in trouble for lying. Dead Man Walking. Even Lincoln defended Grant by saying he can't spare this man. He fights. Precisely. Yeah. And it worked. He won the war. He and Sherman won the war at a terrible cost. Happy Treason Day from us ungrateful colonists. Yes, we are awful. Wait, you got a free pool. Yeah. Actually, I already have a free pool. Well, not a free. Can we say quote unquote free? We have a community pool here. No, I'm getting the free kitchen. Well, quote unquote free. I've been paying my insurance for how many years? It's only treason if you lose. Precisely. And if by some reason what Robert E. Lee had done had worked, he would have been a hero. Is that it? Oh my gosh. Why won't people leave me alone? Sorry, I'm being mean. Like Chancellorsville, when he split them up at oh, shit. Oh, I thought I canceled the stream. I did not. That should not have worked. And if it hadn't worked at Chancellorsville, he would have been a butcher. He would have been. How could he have approved that? What a dummy! We're like, oh my gosh, Jackson, oh Jackson. But no, it worked. It was genius. And that Patton in the movie was played by Ted Turner. I did not know that. Yeah, Ted Turner did a cameo in it. He got killed. He goes, "Let's go, men," and then boom, right by the fence. He also played the same character in Gods and Generals. A lot of the same actors played in Gods and Generals. Though they were older, it really wasn't too distracting because there is a suspension of disbelief in good drama. And of course, since the dude who played Pickett in this movie, Stephen Lang, played Jackson in Gods and Generals, which he was amazing, you had to get over the fact that Pickett was now Jackson, and they had another actor playing Pickett, obviously. And then they had Longstreet. Tom Berenger didn't come back, and he was played by the Bruce Boxleitner from Scarecrow and Mrs. King and Babylon 5. And Robert Duvall played Robert E. Lee in Gods and Generals, which actually was very good casting. One could argue better than Martin Sheen, though I think Martin Sheen acted quite well. Pam Redmond says, Thomas Francis Marr. Thank you. I was feeling very self-conscious. Wrote Lincoln 1 letter a day since the beginning of the war. Then when Lincoln gave in to his demands, and then he wrote 3 letters a day. Yeah. Whew. It's it's a lot of drama. And I said that while all of this was going on, the turning point of the war, all of that, Vicksburg fell on July 4th. So if they thought they were having a bad day in the East, they had a horrible day in the West and gave the Mississippi control. The Union had the control of the Mississippi, split the Confederacy in two. It was over by this point, in my humble opinion. It was just a matter of time before the Confederacy was going to lose. The Anaconda Plan, which was conceived at the beginning, where they were going to like encircle and like squeeze the Union, squeeze the Confederacy. That ended up what was working. So that was a huge part of it. So the Mississippi now is in complete control of the Union. The East, you've got all this stuff, and they're going to bring Grant over. July 4th, 1863 was amazing from a certain point of view. If you were for the Union, it was a disaster if you were for the Confederacy. Sort of Purposes says, and I'm one of those that believe that Vicksburg was more significant than Gettysburg. Yes, I could argue it was. It was. What Gettysburg did in the East was it stopped Robert E. Lee. Well, from a certain point of view, if you will, getting the high ground, stopped his more aggressive, because he'd started to get a little more aggressive. He put him purely on the defense, and there really wasn't much that he could do after this. It was just one thing after the other. And because if there had been anyone but Robert E. Lee in charge of the Confederate Army in the East and the Army of Northern Virginia, it probably would have been over a lot sooner. So I guess from that point of view, you could see how Gettysburg is. But the Confederates really didn't have a victory like Chancellorsville after this. So maybe one could argue that Chancellorsville was a turning point, if you will, because losing Jackson. Oh, that was amazing. All right, so that is Gettysburg, and I do have here Independence Day. When we declared independence from the Brits, there's a lot in the Declaration of Independence that is maybe a bit superfluous, but the central concept of it, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights, among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Hypothetically, that is still the core value of us as Americans. But speaking of which, yeah, they can declare independence, but then we had to win our independence, because you can say you're free. A lot more fighting after that. But they were very brave, the people that signed the Declaration of Independence, because they could have been hanged. If the war had gone differently, if they had gotten captured, they would have been hanged for treason. And I need to look it up. I don't know if they were still hang, drawing, and quartering by this point, because that's what treason was, I know, at the time of the Reformation. And that was not fun. That was a horrible way to die. If you've seen Braveheart, that's what the traitor's death. Robert Duvall, says Jacob Brownside, is a descendant of Robert E. Lee. Oh my gosh. Well, isn't that interesting? 70 years independent. Yes, correct. But the movie 1776, or the play, has a really great line where when Thomas Jefferson, when they're talking about why they had to have a Declaration of Independence, it's like, we're going to place before the world the concept that what we're doing is like righteous on like a whole other different plane. It's not really rebellion. It's self-evident, the righteousness of what they are doing. And then finally someone says, you mean you're trying to say that an illegal rebellion is actually illegal rebellion? And they're like, Yeah. Yes. But look at us all now. We're friends. We're friends. There's probably quite a lot of people since Jacob by our side that are descendants of Lee. Yeah. Now, Lee was a descendant of Lighthouse Harry Lee. So, yay. It's all connected. That's how we got Arlington Cemetery. That was Robert Lee's home. And they decided, well, hey, we'll use his home to start burying the dead, and that became our national cemetery. Well, I'm going to go ahead and leave you all now. I need to check the wind tunnel downstairs and Genie Mac. I know that Potato Revan is going to be having a Independence Day stream on his channel in a few hours. Also, not sure about other people, but I might be on. It depends. It depends. My life. That's all I gotta say in my life right now. Tomorrow, let's see. I don't know what I'm going to be doing tomorrow. I will definitely be doing another live stream. I'm going to keep these live streams going. One thing, I like them. Also, I'm needing these watch hours. But hey, watch the Tolkien shipping video. That one's doing pretty well. I do appreciate that. It makes a person gratified when you enjoy what's going on. And I've got some more food recipes. I'm still reserving some of these videos for when I cannot live stream. And I'm still working on the closing counters of the soulfish kind. 60 minutes. It's down to 60 minutes. And I'm for crying out loud. It's like a freaking dissertation. Jacob Ironside says, Southerners and Yankees are friends, but we still poke each other in the ribs a lot. That's right. I'm related in my human side to Robert Colonel Hieronymus Q. O'Dwell, inventor of the rotary steam-powered corn. Oh my gosh, yeah. Well, and one thing that about the Civil War, it was referred to earlier by the Vermont cheese. We stayed friends. Even during the war, it was not uncommon to have little truces where they would go and they would trade with each other or share letters or even, Christmas truces. That was a thing. And when the Confederates did the official surrender, Joshua Lawrence Chamberlain, I call him the Forrest Gump of the Civil War. It seems like he was everywhere. He was chosen to receive the formal surrender, and he was so moved by the gallant bravery, even though he was completely against the cause of the Confederacy. He ordered the Union soldiers to salute the Confederates. And I don't know any Civil War that's ended quite like that. Thanks for the stream, says Dadman Walking. This was cool. Hope you get the house fixed. Yeah. Tell me about it. Hope I get my life fixed too. let's just put everything together. And thank you all for being here. And thank you for your contributions, everybody. I told y'all to help keep me honest. I hope I was able to address things and get all the comments in. Sometimes it can be a bit tricky, especially when YouTube is weird and they don't show things. And I have to wait or have my mods take care of it. I don't know what's wrong with them. Thank you. Oh, there's Vermont cheese. Thank you. It's not really Jacob Ironside considered a typical Civil War. It's more of a war between the states. Yes, I think war between the states is a far more accurate term. I said that at the beginning because the Confederates weren't wanting to take control. Like, it wasn't like two different factions trying to take control of Washington, say, for example, take control of America. Boy. Well, I would recommend going to Civil War reenactment. It's been a long time though since I've been involved with those, and I'm not even sure you're allowed to have a Civil War reenactment anymore because of the way things are nowadays. Because there's a certain flag where I'm like, the most appropriate place in the world to see that flag would be at a Civil War reenactment because it's like reenacting something. But I can see how they would take that certain flag and be like, we can't see that flag. And I'm like, this is the one place it's historically accurate. So I don't know if they were getting grief about it before 2020. So I don't know. I don't know. Hopefully, people, just be able to look at history as history. Like when I talk about certain things about the Confederacy, it's like, yes, it was 200 years ago, right? Or not quite 200, but you know what I mean. It's like it was a different time. It was a different time. And obviously, we have improved a lot since then. Jacob Ironside says, great stream, Teresa. Why, thank you. Bye, all. Have a happy Independence Day. Thank you. You too. It's not a racist flag. It's a battle flag. A lot of people still fly it. That's what I was about ready to say. Yes. But people don't let facts get in the way of their feelings. Unfortunately, yeah. That's a subject for another day. Those that fought for the Confederacy. There is reasons. It's more complicated than it sounds. Happy birthday, America. Yes, thank you. All right, I do need to end. Thank you, everyone, for being here. I think I said Dan Milwaukee, Vermont Cheese, Jacob Ironside, Snorta Poopus. We had the Gorilla's Random Thoughts. Salty showed up. Steve was here. Tommy, thank you for being here. So was Rennie. Let me see if I missed anyone. It is not intentional. Sometimes things jump around. Potato Revan. Ty was here. And Chrysanth, all of you, thank you. Dempsey, thank you for being here. Have a great day, everyone. Have a great yes, Jacob. You're right. Have a great Independence Day, and be certain to to celebrate history and enjoy yourselves.